Now the latest around the wide world of tropics. Tropical Weather Bulletin for August 26th. Well, here we are with another day in the tropics, and there are no active tropical systems by our analysis. Marty remains a remnant low that is still traceable, and of course Tropical Disturbance 14E, we do not have it as a depression yet, but that of course is expected to change soon as into the 26th day of the month. 56 storms have formed so far this year. In the Atlantic, it's day 87 of the season, and there are quite a few areas to watch here. Of course, 97 and 99L remain with high chances, 99L the significant threat. We also have 98L with 30% chance of formation, and a very small AOI northeast of the Azores with only a 10% chance of formation. I personally don't think it'll form. In the Eastern Pacific, we're looking at Marty with a remnant low stage there, and then of course 14E with 100% chance of formation could pose a threat to southwestern Mexico and the Baja California coast in a few days. In the Western Pacific, we're not looking at much going on here at all. It is a relatively quiet season that has been continuing to remain that such in terms of typhoons and majors, and it looks like that pattern is going to be staying with us for quite a little bit more of time. And the North Indian Ocean, it's the same story here, nothing going on, and that is to be expected. Of course, we're still in the latter half of August, and you typically don't see activity at this time. Still going to be at least a few more weeks before we see some activity return for the second peak of the season. Looking at the Atlantic satellite imagery, this is what it looks like, and we have, of course, the three areas that we're monitoring there. 99L looking better organized, and you can see 97 and 98L to the east of those. 97L looking to be to the east of Bermuda now, and 98L still down there in the main development region. In the Eastern Pacific, you can see what we have of 14E besides the really technical difficulty glitch that we have there. Unfortunately, the satellite issues have been becoming more apparent with the Eastern Pacific lately, and they do plan on fixing that some point at the end of the year. In the Western Pacific, you can see what we're dealing with in terms of the activity, and it's really not much. There's a lot of messy cloud organization there, and of course not really anything that would get itself established into a tropical cyclone. So while there's a lot of activity going on in terms of clouds and all, we're not really seeing anything that's going to be resembling of a tropical cyclone in the next 5 days here. So enjoy the quiet period while it lasts, because of course, as we get later into the season, the threat for that increases dramatically. In the North Indian Ocean, we're still looking at the monsoonal season continuing across portions of the Bay of Bengal, and then of course the Arabian Sea remains entirely dry as well. So really just a typical day here. And of course, if you look at 99L here, that is the most prominent threat as we head into the next several days here. Models have continued to hint at signs that this could be a significant hurricane, especially as it heads up the Gulf Coast, where we could be seeing a Category 1 landfall potentially, although the GFS has been going overboard up to a 3 with the latest run. In the Eastern Pacific, the sea surface temperatures look like this. We are looking at the 30 degrees Celsius temperatures going away now, although we still have those 27 to 29 degrees Celsius temperatures dominating the rest of the basin. In the Gulf of Mexico, we're looking at 30 degrees Celsius temperatures on average, although as you get closer to Texas and Louisiana, it's 31 to 32. Much of the tropical Atlantic is 28 to 29, otherwise than that. Some areas in the far eastern Atlantic remaining around 27. In the North Indian Ocean, we're looking at 28 to 29 degrees Celsius temperatures throughout the Bay of Bengal, and then as you get towards the Arabian Sea, it's around 28.5, and then as you go westward, it drops off significantly. In the Western Pacific, we're continuing to watch those temperatures slowly warm up here, with much of the Philippine Sea and the South China Sea being around 30 degrees Celsius in terms of its temperatures, especially as you head near the equator. Other than that, all of the basin remains around 28 to 29 degrees Celsius. Moving on over to the sea surface temperature anomalies, that's going to be displaying up next here in a sec. And you can see that the subtropics and the high latitude locations remain generally warm, and some neutral conditions are continuing to appear, and we are looking at the Atlantic remaining generally warm. The cold trail still left behind, grays won't matter much for 99L it seems, and of course the Western Pacific remains about 1 to 2 degrees above average. On this day, we're going back to just last year when Hurricane Laura was becoming a Category 4 hurricane as it barreled its way towards the Lake Charles coast there. Of course, it did cause over $14 billion of damage. The name was retired. Bobby was also a threat, of course, to the Korea Peninsula, and then, of course, Iselle and Hernan were just chilling there in the eastern Pacific as tropical storms that would not amount to much, especially considering the fact that Laura and Bobby were the much more prominent threats of this day here. So, very significant day here, and that was just 1 year ago. Hopefully we don't have a repeat of that with 99L or any future inbusts. So, with that said, the next name in the Atlantic is Ida, followed by Julian. In the Eastern Pacific, we're looking out for Nora and Olaf, with probably about to get Nora soon. And in the Central Pacific, while there are many dumb ways to die, there are also so many dumb ways that we can't get Hone, and we're not probably going to be seeing that name for the foreseeable future. Switching it over to the Western Pacific, the next name remains Kansan and Chantu here. And in the North Indian Ocean, we are awaiting the names of Gulab and Shaheen. We'll probably see those in a month or so. Moving on over to the Southern Hemisphere, the next name in the Southwestern Indian Ocean is Anna, followed by Bet Sea Ray. In the Australian region, we're looking out for Patty and Ruby. And in the Pacific, it's Cody. We'll be back for another Tropical Weather Bulletin tomorrow night.